So I had to break up the video a little bit. So in this video, we're going to hear about the discussion about what a classic, what a vintage, what a antique motorcycle is. Because there's some discrepancy amongst the guys on how they're going to approach that. Also, there was some discussion about how they wanted to improve the motorcycle show portion of the swap meet. So they're really working hard at this. There's a lot of debate. There's been a lot of talk behind the scenes and stuff. But I'm going to try to catch most of what they talked about and how they came to their conclusion of how to break up the classes and everything to better improve the motorcycle show. And in fact, I'm making this video after the fact, after the show and after the swap meet and everything. And in fact, it really did work. They improved the motorcycle show quite a bit. They got a lot more bikes. I think somebody said double the amount of bikes. So, well, let's listen in on the discussion.
What is your thoughts on it? Because we've had the discussion already. In a way, we've talked about 70 before, well, 69 and before, and then 70 and up. Or do we split those two classes from 70 and up to 70 to 85 and then 85 to current? You know, that just adds another class and it adds 6 more trophies and 18 more ribbons or something like that. But I mean, it's only money. It's not that much money when you consider trophies. Ribbons don't cost that much, so that's not a huge cost. But
two ribbons is like $15.
We're talking about if there's 3 classes, 69 and prior is antique, 70 to 85 is vintage, classic, and then 85, so it'd be 86 to current would be late model. Then we'd have 4 is 8, and then we'd have 4 more, right? So we'd have 12 first place trophies, and we'd have ribbons for those other 4 as well. So we'd have another 12 ribbons.
I'd like to simplify it, break the classes down twice, not if anything, I don't, this is kind of tough. Meeting time, I agree with breaking the old to draw more antique. That's the general feeling. If I'm 74, 55, that's just an update on the guy with the trophies. Oh, by the way, I have talked to the guy, the trophy guy. He's in. We'll get to him before the end of this month. He's good, regardless of 12, 24, 8 for classes. He's good on 8.
So, where are you, Peter? Where are you? I'm pretty sure I know where you are, but where are you on?
Well, you know, where am I? I'll tell you. I think what I just heard, I liked. I liked what I heard about pre-1969 being antique class, and the classic 1970 to 85 makes sense to me. That's where I'm at. I really do think an antique bike should be an antique bike. My idea of an antique bike is an old bike.
Pre-1970.
Pre-1970, even older, but pre-1970 would be, yes, pre-1970 would qualify. Classic or vintage, you know, used synonymously. That would cover, you know, it's kind of hard with the Harleys and the 1985, the pre-shovel, I guess. Or shovel, you know, back. But I'm gonna, collectively we'll come to some kind of an understanding here that'll work.
Andy?
No, it's a lot more work for Joe, but I think the 74 and older antique, and then 75 to 85 or 90, whatever that cutoff is going to be, as vintage or classic, and then the rest of them, who cares? I mean, if you have a 1991 and it's a nice looking bike,
Well,
you could put that in any.
so the reason the 1985 was mentioned, because because that's the last year of the last shovel manufactured. And this, that needs a little more explanation, but we don't have to go there.
And the
That's the
Evo,
end of the shovels, that's why. So shovels back, 85 back.
Oh, yes, that comes from growing up.
That's the
So you're in favor of the three?
I'm in favor of the three, but make it simple, simplify the 86 and newer across the board. Like, just simplify that era.
And we're looking at 40 years of motorcycles, yeah.
If it's possible. That's also a lot.
And now our non-Harley guy,
Yeah,
Kurt.
yeah, thank you.
Well, also Joe is a non-Harley.
Yeah, those are important members.
Okay, too, but I like the way this is set up, 69 up to 1969, and 70 on. I kind of like this, the way it's set up right here, 70 to 2025, and the Japanese 69 and up. And I think they're all, at this point, to my opinion, they're all antique motorcycles. I think antique and vintage to me is about the same thing.
Right.
I agree.
But would you cut your vintage off at a certain year? It's not 25, I mean, it's not an antique if it's, what, 90s on, right?
That's true.
And he's got that monostrap bike, that fine line, because that's actually, what, 96?
What?
That monostrap, the unistrap. The one with the one fork on the front.
Oh, the GTS.
Yeah,
That's a 93.
yeah. So where would you put that in that class?
The Japanese between 70 and 2025. I would say,
But it's not.
cut it off at the 90s, 70 to 90s, 70s to 90 is vintage, and then from 90s on is current. It's kind of hard to say.
Getting caught up in, we're back to trying to classify too much. Simplify it, 2, not 3.
No, we're going 3, Joe. It seems pretty clear that
Classes of trophy.
it's pretty clear that it's 3 right now.
Okay,
I'm just saying, I mean, that's where it looks to be
okay.
as far as individually.
The more you finite, then there will be finiting from that, people trying to break off from that. These are only, the year classes are only by year. We already said this. We're going to do scooters. With this, we could eliminate the special Olympics.
Yeah.
Now, rat, then we're going to open the rat chopper bobber or put the bobber with the rat class for all of them. It doesn't matter, whether they're European, American, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That would be an open class. New year,
Red is an open class.
yep.
Yep.
Rat and bobber.
I think chopper and bobber are 2 separate categories in my,
How about rat?
is a separate category.
As a separate, all right.
3 individuals.
3 individual categories, open class for years.
Okay.
So what's the cutoff date though for the vintage, new, current? 85?
I just want to bring that up. I mean, since the 85 versus the 1970 date, really the conflict really comes with the Harleys because of the shovel heads. I mean, maybe we should just make it pre-85 antique. Would that make a difference? And not have that 15-year spell? I mean, it's kind of a small.
Or you bump up the
Is that
spell.
really?
Or you bump up
Or
the
you bump
spell.
up the spell. Like, okay, so
To
you do
90.
70
To 90.
to 90 or 70 to 95.
95 even.
70 to
I
95
think would be
a vintage.
would be a good period.
Because you have some beautiful
Yeah,
bikes
because
in the
my,
early 90s.
my heritage was an antique, but it's not now because of the change.
Well, that, yeah, I
In the
think we
state
should
of Maine.
disregard the registration factor.
I understand what you're saying, but I mean, you know, it's a lot of it too. I think it's antique.
So why don't we do that? 70, a pre-70 antique. Then pre-95
I'm leaving
to
it up.
70
Pre-95 to 70.
is vintage.
Because of the non-American.
Or classic.
At all.
Or classic. Classic, that'd be a better word, whatever. And then 95 and newer, or 96 and newer,
Late model.
it'd be late model.
So run it by me one more time. What's going to
Okay,
qualify
so-
as antique's going to be pre-what?
Pre-70
Pre-70.
is antique.
That's,
You
that's pretty valid.
You
Yeah.
get you get the old bikes that deserve the
The credit.
the
yeah.
show for how long they've lasted, and then you have 95 to 70 would be classic or vintage,
Okay.
and that would summarize that would allow people in that year to be able to show their bikes, and it's a good variety there, but not
Nice
crazy.
range, yeah.
Yeah, and then you have the 96 and newer as the most current.
They don't fall into
Whether
current.
you have a 96 bike next to a 2025 bike, who cares? At this point, it's not that big of a deal. 20-year gap.
There's going to be a lot more of them.
Oh no, 30-year gap. That sounds fine.
I like it.
Closes the gap.
So that sounds, that's,
How's everybody feel?
I think that sounds the most reasonable. That I can buy into that.
Yeah, because you get your bike, my FXR, and his bike.
are you getting Alzheimer's? That's so you remember.
What's going
your
on,
name?
man?
Oh, by the way, bike me home. But
So is everybody in favor of that except for Joe?
No, I'm in favor. I like
You like
what
Joe?
All right, Joe.
This just means we
We
need
couldn't do
help
this without
with
you,
our
Joe. That's the whole thing.
Okay, here's my next question. You ready for this one?
No.
Don't stir the pot. Don't stir the pot.
Should we have an audio sound system trophy? People can bring their bikes with their sound systems on them, and we can, have them ramp
Best
them up.
paint, best
No.
engines, that kind of deal. Best paint, best engine.
Well, you
That's-
do
I'm talking
best
car, but-
best sound
Sound
system.
system.
They do it at different shows. I've seen
Really?
it done. It's a really popular trophy. I mean,